I should have quit after the first night. But the money was good, and I told myself I was imagining things. I deliver food at night. That's my job. People order from the apps, I pick it up, and I drive it out into the dark. I'm used to sketchy neighborhoods, flickering porch lights, weird customers who won't meet my eyes. You learn to shrug that stuff off. But there's this one house, this one order, that I can't shrug off. You'll understand soon. It started 3 months ago on a Tuesday. I remember because Tuesdays are dead shifts. Barely any orders, barely any tips. I was parked under a buzzing streetlight, scrolling through my phone, half asleep, when the notification popped up. Delivery request. Address on the far side of town. Big tip already added. I almost didn't take it. Too far. But the tip was ridiculous. Nearly double what I usually make on a full run. I hit accept without thinking. The restaurant was one of those greasy all-night diners with peeling vinyl booths. They handed me a paper bag stapled shut, warm to the touch, smelling like fried onions. Normal enough. The address? 1438 Willow Lane. The street name meant nothing to me then. The drive out there was long. I remember the roads narrowing, the houses thinning out, the glow of town giving way to open dark. I drove past empty fields and old fences leaning sideways. My GPS said I was close, but I didn't see anything for a while. Just black windows. No porch lights, no cars. Finally, the number popped up on my screen. Arrived. I slowed the car, squinting through my windshield. At first, I thought the GPS was wrong. The lot looked empty. But then I saw it. A house. It wasn't ruined or anything. Just wrong. Too still. All the blinds drawn tight. Paint the color of wet ashes. One porch light dim as a dying candle, struggling against the dark. The driveway was cracked. No car in sight. No sound. No wind. No bugs. When you do this job, you get a sixth sense for houses. You can tell which ones are alive. This one wasn't. Still, I grabbed the bag, walked up the path, and knocked. Silence. I waited. Knocked again, harder. No footsteps, no voices, no shuffle inside. Then, just as I turned to leave, the porch light flickered. Once, twice, and the front door, it eased open. Not wide, just enough to show a strip of black, like the house was peeking out at me. I froze. You'd expect someone to appear, right? A face, a hand, something. But no one came. The door just stood there, ajar, breathing cold air onto the porch. I didn't want to go closer. Every nerve in me screamed, "Don't step in." So I did what any delivery driver would do. I set the bag down by the door and backed away. Halfway to my car, I heard it. A voice, faint, from inside. Low, raspy, like a whisper being dragged across the floorboards. It said one word. Thanks. My skin tightened like it was shrinking. I didn't look back. I got in my car and drove off, tires spitting gravel. That should have been it. A weird house, a creepy voice, one delivery. But the order came again. Same time next night, same place, same bag of food. And it kept coming, over and over. And every time, the house was dark, silent, wrong. Every time, the door would ease open just enough, and every time, that same whisper would follow me back into the night. But here's the part that didn't make sense. The part that kept me up at night. When I finally mentioned Willow Lane to another driver, he frowned and said, "There's no house at 1438. Place burned down years ago." I told myself he was wrong. People exaggerate. Rumors spread. Maybe the house looked empty, sure, but burned down? No way. I'd seen it with my own eyes. But the thought lodged itself in my brain like a splinter. The next night, I didn't expect to see the order again. My hands actually shook a little as I opened the app. I tried to act like I didn't care. Like I just drive around, take something local, keep it simple. But then, that familiar address lit up on my screen. 1438 Willow Lane. Same diner. Same big tip. I stared at it too long. A part of me wanted to reject it, to never go back there. But another part, the greedy, practical part, couldn't walk away from money like that. Not on a slow night. So I hit accept. The diner worker handed me the bag without a word, like they'd been expecting me. Grease bled through the bottom. The smell strong and heavy. I asked who placed the order. Just casually, like I wasn't crawling with nerves. He shrugged, said it was always the same account. Card payment, good tip, never any complaints. We just cook it. Don't ask questions. I wanted to press him, but there were people waiting behind me. So I left. The drive felt longer this time. I kept expecting my GPS to glitch, for the address to vanish, but it led me right back. The house was waiting, still as stone. Porch light, dim and trembling. Door shut tight. I parked, cut the engine, and just sat there for a moment, gripping the wheel. The street was dead quiet. No other houses with lights on. No passing cars. Not even a stray cat. I finally forced myself out. Gravel crunched under my shoes. The food bag swung at my side, greasy and warm. I climbed the steps, knocked once. My knuckles sounded too loud. Nothing. Then, just like before, the door creaked open on its own. Slow. Careful. A breath of cold air brushing out onto me. But this time, I swear I heard movement inside. Not footsteps, not exactly. More like the shuffle of something dragging along the floor. Hello? My voice cracked. I cleared my throat. Delivery? No answer. Just the dark gap of the doorway yawning wider. I set the bag down. My fingers trembled. That's when I smelled it. Not the food. Something underneath. Damp wood. Ash, like the inside of a fireplace after rain. And then the whisper came again. The same word. Thanks. But this time, it was closer. Right behind the door. I stepped back so fast, I nearly tripped on the porch stairs. My heart hammered in my throat. I didn't wait. I bolted for my car, slammed the door, locked it. Through my windshield, I watched the house. The food bag was gone. Not tipped over, not dragged, just gone. The porch was empty. I drove off like hell was chasing me, barely remembering to breathe until I hit the main road again. That night, I barely slept. I kept hearing that whisper in my head. I told myself it didn't matter. Weird houses, weird people, not my business. But the way the other driver had said it, burned down years ago, wouldn't let me rest. So the next day, I looked it up. He wasn't wrong. There was a record, a fire on Willow Lane. Total loss. No survivors. Address listed 1438. I sat there, staring at the screen, the words blurring. Burned down. Gone. But I'd been there. I'd seen it. I delivered food to it twice, and I knew, deep down, it wouldn't be the last time. That night, as if on cue, my phone buzzed. Another order, same place, and this time I swear the app itself glitched. The address didn't just appear, it flickered, like the numbers were struggling to stay put on the screen. And when I blinked, I realized something that made my stomach twist. The order wasn't placed under a name. It just said, customer, unknown. I nearly threw my phone across the car when I saw that. Customer, unknown. Usually, there's always a name. Even if it's fake or just initials, the app forces something to be filled in. I scrolled, refreshed, even force closed and reopened the app. But it didn't change. Just unknown. I told myself I'd cancel. I even hovered over the button. But when you're a night driver, tips are your lifeline. And this tip, it was triple the usual. My hand moved before my brain caught up. I accepted. The diner worker gave me the same look as before. Like he knew me. Like he knew exactly where I was headed. His eyes flicked up just once, then back down to the bag. He slid it across the counter without a word. The grease smell hit me hard. This time, the drive out was worse. I couldn't stop glancing at the mirrors. My headlights carved tunnels through empty fields, but every time the road bent, shadows shifted like they were keeping pace. I turned the radio on just for noise, but all it gave me was static. When I got close, my chest tightened. The house looked the same, dead still, porch light dim, buzzing faintly, door shut. I parked at the curb, but I didn't get out right away. I sat there, staring, gripping the steering wheel. Then, I noticed something new. One of the upstairs windows, the blind wasn't fully shut, just a sliver open. And behind it, something pale, like a face. I blinked, leaned forward. It was gone. My skin crawled. I told myself it could have been reflection, maybe even moonlight. But I didn't believe it. The food was burning hot in my hand when I climbed the porch. I hesitated before knocking. My fist hovered there, inches from the wood. The door opened before I touched it. This time faster, like it had been waiting for me. The smell hit me harder than before. Not food. That same damp, ashy stench, stronger now, like something rotting under wet logs. And then I heard it. A shuffle inside, closer than ever. Heavy, dragging. I put the bag down, my fingers shaking so badly the stapled top tore. A little container slid out, clattering against the porch. Silence. I bent, grabbed it, shoved it back in the bag, and that's when the whisper came. Not thanks. This time it said, "Come in." I swear, the words didn't just pass through my ears. They slid cold through my ribs, like ice water. I staggered back, almost tripping off the porch. My eyes locked on that black slice of doorway. No one there, no movement, just that voice lingering in my bones. I bolted to my car, slammed the door, locked it. The bag was gone again. This time I barely turned my back, but it wasn't just gone. The door was shut too, as if nothing had happened. I sat there with the engine idling, pulse thundering, and then through my windshield, I saw it. Upstairs window. The blinds shifted. Just a twitch. Enough for a pale oval to show again. Not a face, exactly. More like the suggestion of one. Like skin stretched too thin. I couldn't take it. I tore out of there, speeding down the empty road, headlights cutting across weeds and broken fences. But the whisper followed me, not in my ears, in my head. Come in, come in, come in. I didn't sleep that night. My walls felt too thin, my apartment too dark. I kept looking at my front door, half expecting it to creak open. By morning, I decided I wouldn't take any more late orders, wouldn't risk that address. But when evening came, I couldn't help myself. I opened the app, and there it was, waiting. Same diner, same house, same unknown. Except this time, the tip wasn't money. It just said, "You owe us." I stared at the screen so long my vision blurred. You owe us. It wasn't possible. The app didn't let customers write messages in the tip section. It was always numbers, a dollar amount, nothing else. I closed the app, opened it again. The words were still there. My chest tightened. My first thought was some glitch, maybe even a prank. But who? Nobody had access to my account, and nobody should have been able to change the system like that. The order timer was ticking down. If I didn't accept, it would vanish, maybe go to another driver. For a second, I prayed someone else would take it, but the app pulsed, waiting, like it was only meant for me. And then my phone buzzed. A new notification, not from the delivery app, just my phone's default messenger. No name, no number, just a message that read, "Don't make us wait." I swear my hands went numb. I should have thrown the phone across the room. I should have deleted the app, quit, anything. But instead, my thumb hovered over that green button. And against every shred of instinct, I pressed accept. At the diner, the worker barely looked at me. He slid the bag across the counter, stapled tight. But this time, I noticed his hands shaking, like he wanted to say something, but didn't dare. I almost asked, almost begged for an answer, but the weight of the bag in my hand silenced me. The drive to Willow Lane felt endless. My headlights barely touched the road ahead. My chest felt tight, my breathing shallow. Every tree looked like it begged toward me, black branches reaching down. When I finally pulled up, I almost didn't recognize the house. The porch light was brighter. Not warm, not yellow, but stark white. Cold. It lit the whole front yard, like a stage. Every shadow stretched thin. The blinds upstairs weren't shut anymore. They were wide open, and I could see them. Shapes, standing in the window. Not one, not two. A whole line. Pale faces pressed to the glass, still as mannequins, watching me. I wanted to throw the car into reverse and never stop driving. But something stronger than fear pulled at me. The phone in my pocket buzzed, once, twice, relentless. I forced myself out of the car, legs trembling. Each step crunched the gravel too loud. The food bag felt heavier than before, like it was filled with bricks. Grease dripped down the side, warm against my skin. I climbed the steps. My heart stuttered in my chest. Before I could knock, the door opened, fast this time, swinging wide like it had been yanked. The smell hit me full force, smoke, wet ash, something bitter underneath. And from inside came the whisper. Not one voice, many, layered over each other like a chorus dragged through the walls. Inside, I froze on the porch. My whole body screamed to run, but my legs carried me, one step forward. Just one. The light above me flickered. The bag tore open in my hands, containers spilling across the porch. My eyes flicked down, just for a second, and when I looked up, the figures in the upstairs window were gone. The whisper grew louder, filling my head. Inside. The phone in my pocket buzzed again. I pulled it out with shaking hands. The screen was black, except for 3 words that burned white. Bring it in. And before I could even breathe, the door in front of me swung wider, slamming against the wall, revealing nothing but a hall of shadows. Something was waiting in there. And it wasn't going to let me keep standing outside. I don't know why I didn't run. Every instinct begged me to, but standing there on that porch with the shadows spilling out of that open door, I felt pulled. Not like curiosity, not like greed, something deeper, like invisible hands pressed against my back. I told myself I'd just step in for a second, just set the food inside and leave. But the moment my shoe touched the threshold, the air changed. It was colder, thick. My breath fogged in front of me, even though outside it had been warm. The floor creaked under my weight. The smell of ash wrapped around me, sour and heavy. I set the bag down on a narrow table by the door. My fingers lingered a second too long, like the wood itself was. Holding them there, I whispered, "Okay, it's here." Silence. I waited. My pulse thudded in my ears. No footsteps, no movement. Just the faint hum of the porch light spilling through the doorway behind me. I turned to leave. The door slammed shut. The sound was so sharp I flinched, stumbling forward. I grabbed the knob, twisted hard. Nothing. It wouldn't budge. That's when I realized the whisper wasn't behind me anymore. It was all around me. Low, layered voices brushing the walls, the ceiling, the floor. Words I couldn't make out, like language pulled apart and sewn wrong. My skin crawled, every hair rising. "Hello?" My voice cracked, pathetic in the dark. No answer. Just whispers swelling, pressing into me, vibrating in my chest. I fumbled for my phone, turned on the flashlight. The beam cut through the dark, thin and shaky. The hall stretched farther than it should have, too far, longer than the house looked from outside. Wallpaper peeled in strips, blackened at the edges like it had been burned. I forced myself forward, one step at a time. My shoes sank into the carpet, damp, spongy, like walking on rotted fruit. The smell thickened, choking me. I thought I saw movement in the corner of my light, a shape ducking just out of reach. But when I whipped the beam over, nothing. The whispers grew sharper, closer. I passed a doorway on the left. My light caught it just enough. Inside, a table, charred black. Plates melted into puddles of glass. Chairs half gone, their legs stumps. For a moment, I swore I smelled food. Fresh, greasy, like the bag I carried. My stomach twisted. I moved faster. The hall seemed to bend, leading me deeper. The light ahead dimmed, like the shadows were swallowing it. And then, footsteps. Not mine. Behind me. Slow, heavy, dragging. I spun, flashlight trembling. Nothing. Just the long, empty hall stretching back to the door that wouldn't open. But the carpet where I'd walked was wet now, dark stains spreading outward. I tried to breathe, tried to stay calm, but the whispers rose into words, clearer this time. Stay. The beam of my flashlight shook across the walls. And that's when I saw them. Handprints burned into the wallpaper. Dozens of them, charred black, fingers splayed wide. Some high, some low, some smeared down like whoever made them had been dragged. I backed up, heart thundering, when something brushed my arm. Cold, wet, not air, not cloth. I jerked the light to the side. The hall was empty, but the whispers had stopped. And in that silence, I heard something else. A sound so faint, it barely touched my ears. Breathing, coming from deeper inside the house. That breathing, it wasn't steady. It hitched, dragged, caught in a throat that didn't sound fully human. Each inhale scraped, each exhale wheezed. I froze. My light trembled in my hand, bee wobbling across the damp carpet. The sound was coming from deeper down the hall, past where the shadows thickened, past where the wallpaper melted into black. I whispered, "Who's there?" But the word barely left my lips. The breathing stopped. Silence slammed down, so heavy I could hear the rush of my own blood in my ears. Then, two sounds at once. A floorboard groaning ahead of me, another behind me. My throat tightened. I swung the flashlight forward. Empty. Whipped it back behind me. Empty. But now the handprints on the walls weren't still. I swear to you, they were fresh. New smudges appearing as I watched, the black marks spreading like char across the faded paper. Too high, too low, all wrong. I staggered back, my heels sinking into the damp carpet. My light shook and caught something just ahead. A doorway cracked open. And inside that room, flicker, not light, flame. A small glow licking along the floor. My chest clenched. Fire. The smell of smoke rushed me. Thick, sour, choking. I stumbled forward, covering my nose with my sleeve. My light cut through the crack and into the room. It was a kitchen, or what was left of one. Counters warped, cupboards blackened, stove half collapsed. Flames crawled across the tile, but didn't spread, didn't burn. They stayed in place, glowing like fire painted on. And standing in the middle of it all was a figure, small, thin, arms hanging loose, skin pale and wet, like wax dripping. Its head turned toward me, slow as rusted hinges. No eyes, just black hollows, glistening. Its mouth opened too wide, and what came out wasn't a scream or a whisper. It was the exact sound of my own voice. Leave. I stumbled back so hard I slammed against the wall. My flashlight slipped, beam spinning across the ceiling. By the time I caught it, the figure was gone. The fire was gone. Just a black, empty kitchen. But the smell of smoke still clawed at my throat. I ran, down the hall, back toward the door. My hand hit the knob, twisting, jerking, still locked. Behind me, the whispers surged again. A chorus louder than ever. Words grinding, pulling, wrapping tight. Stay, stay, stay. I pounded the door, screaming now. Let me out. And then, quiet, the whispers stopped. The knob turned in my hand. Just once. A click. I froze, breath held. The door eased open an inch. Not me, something else. I shoved it the rest of the way, bolting onto the porch, gulping the night air like it was water. The house behind me groaned. Low, long, like it was alive and angry. I sprinted to my car, threw myself inside, locked the doors, slammed it into gear. My headlights lit up the house one last time as I pulled away. And that's when I saw them. Every window, every floor, faces pressed to the glass, watching me go. I didn't stop driving until the diner's neon glow hit my windshield again. I parked crooked, chest heaving, sweat cold on my neck. My hands wouldn't let go of the wheel. And then my phone buzzed. One new message. Next time, bring yourself. I didn't go out the next night, or the one after. I turned my phone off, shoved it in a drawer, and tried to forget. Didn't work. The whispers stuck to me like smoke. I hear them in the hum of the fridge, in the pipes of my apartment, in the hiss of cars passing outside. Sometimes I'd wake up with the stink of ash in my nose. On the third night, I caved. I pulled the phone out. The battery was still full, like it had been waiting. When I powered it on, the screen didn't load to my home menu. It loaded to the delivery app. One order, already accepted. 1438 Willow Lane. I dropped the phone like it burned me. It buzzed on the floor, vibrating toward me like something alive. When I picked it up again, the screen showed a timer, counting down. 57, 56. If I didn't deliver it, I don't know what would have happened. But I couldn't bring myself to find out. I drove. The roads were emptier than usual, like the whole town had gone to sleep. Even the diner was dark when I passed it. Still, when I checked the seat beside me, the bag was there. Grease soaking through. The smell sharp and wrong. I don't remember putting it there. The house came into view before the GPS even beeped. The porch light blazed white. Every bulb too bright, burning the air. Windows wide open this time, nothing hiding. The bag in my hand felt heavier than ever, dragging my arm down. My feet barely listened as I climbed the porch. The door opened before I touched it. Wide, waiting. I stepped in. The air slammed me like a wall. Thick, hot, reeking of smoke and mold. My light beam jittered across warped walls, burned ceilings. The whispers came immediately, surrounding me, closer than ever. My name now, they knew my name. I dropped the bag. It split open, containers rolling across the warped floor. And when one cracked, spilling greasy noodles across the carpet, I realized what was underneath. Bones. Not animal, not chicken, not pork. Small, human small. I backed up, bile burning my throat. My light caught something in the corner. A figure crouched low, its limbs bent wrong, like broken sticks shoved into wax. Its head twitched too fast, jerking toward me. Black sockets where eyes should have been. A slit of a mouth too wide. It whispered my name, not with one voice, with hundreds. I turned to run, but the hall stretched again, longer, bending away from me. The door was gone. I bolted anyway, my light swinging wild. Handprints seared into the walls as I passed, fresh and smoking. Some grabbed at my sleeves, my shoulders, cold and wet. I didn't stop until I slammed into another door. I twisted the knob. It opened. A bedroom. Charred crib in the corner. Burn marks climbing the walls. The smell of burned plastic, sharp enough to sting my eyes. And on the floor, drawn in black across the wood, "Come in. Stay. Your turn." The whispers rose, deafening now, drowning my heartbeat. and something moved behind me, slow, heavy, each step sinking into the wet carpet. I didn't want to look, but I did. And it wasn't one figure anymore. It was all of them. The faces from the windows, the shapes from the halls, all pressed together, a tide of pale skin and black hollows crawling toward me. I tried the window, clawing at the frame, but it wouldn't open. My light flickered, dimming, shadows swallowing the walls. The chorus pressed closer, their voices sliding into my ears like knives. Your turn. And that's when I felt a hand, cold, damp, burned, wrap around my ankle. That hand on my ankle, cold, wet, burned, yanked me to the floor so hard the flashlight clattered from my grip. The beam rolled wild, slicing across blackened wallpaper, catching fragments of pale faces pressing closer. I kicked, screamed, clawed at the carpet, but the floor itself felt soft, spongy, pulling me down. My fingernails dug in and came up black, as if the house itself was ash. The tide of them crawled nearer. Faces stretched too thin. Eyes nothing but holes. Mouths opening and shutting like fish in smoke. Whispers slammed into my skull from every direction. Stay, stay, stay. Another hand clamped onto my wrist, then another on my shoulder. Dozens, wet and burned, tugging me down into the floor that seemed less like wood now and more like mud, sucking at my body. I screamed, "I'm not yours." The words didn't matter. They only made the voices louder. The flashlight's beam caught the crib in the corner one last time. And I swear, inside something moved. Something small. A shadow, twisting like a newborn trying to crawl. I thrashed harder, every muscle tearing. My free hand slammed against my pocket, and I felt my phone there, buzzing like it was alive. I yanked it out, thumbed the screen in blind panic. It lit up with one line of text, "We're hungry." The phone slipped from my hand as another grip tightened around my throat. Black spots burst in my vision. The whispers weren't whispers anymore. They were screams, howling in my bones. And then, heat. The floor beneath me flared, fire racing up through the damp carpet. The room ignited, walls splitting with light and smoke. The tide of faces reeled back, screeching. Hands let go of my limbs, retreating into shadow. I stumbled to my feet, coughing, choking but alive. The fire spread too fast, devouring everything. Flames crawling over the walls like insects. Through the smoke, I saw it. The front door, open now. I ran. My body slammed into the night air, tumbling onto the porch. The cold hit me like water. I scrambled down the steps, shoes stitting across gravel, until I reached my car. Behind me, the house burned. Flames poured from every window, black smoke coiling into the sky. Faces writhed in the fire, pressed against the glass, mouths open in silent screams. I fumbled with my keys, got the car started, tore down the road without looking back. By the time I hit the main street, the rearview mirror showed nothing but empty darkness. No glow, no smoke. The house was gone. I pulled over miles away, shaking so badly I couldn't keep the car steady. My phone buzzed once, just once. I didn't want to look, but I did. One new message. "We'll find another way in." I smashed the phone against the dashboard until the screen cracked, until it bled black. But even now, even as I sit here whispering this to you, I still hear it buzzing sometimes. still smell ash in my sheets. And sometimes, when I pass houses at night, I see blinds twitch, faces pressed to the glass, watching, waiting. If you ever get an order for 1438 Willow Lane, don't accept it. And if you do, don't step inside. Because once you do, they don't forget you. They never forget. And maybe tonight, when your lights flicker and your door eases open, you'll finally understand what I mean.